step on the field, we don't care where we're at, who we're playing against. We want to choke the life out of them.
Hey, sacked by Jared Allen! And he is sacked by Jared Allen! As he ran out of the end zone safety.
Woo! I feel the need for speed.
Sitting-wise, am I good sitting here like this?
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
How great was that surprise?
He steps up, Jared Allen got him, and there it is! 22 sacks, a new Minnesota Vikings record!
Oh, that's great. They got that on film, man. Yeah. Yes, they do.
We're looking at the 27th member of the Vikings Ring of Honor. Fellas, that's what you guys are all after right there. That's a hell of an honor right there. Well deserved and really cool.
I brought the wife and kids. Come on, Ziggy. Oh, totally unexpected. It was very humbling. Obviously, I had no clue, that it was coming, and so just shocked. Yeah, just kind of trying to take it all in the moment, and so it was awesome. It was amazing. Like I said, very humbling, very honored. Yeah, it was. So I asked to be traded from the Chiefs. Sorry. And still going through the negotiation, through the process. I knew I wanted to be up here. I was between here and Tampa Bay. And so it was really one of those things of trying to ask somebody to give me a contract that's, never been given to anybody on the defensive side of the ball, at least. And give up a bunch of picks and why they should do that. And so I just think the relationships, that ended up forming, through that process, ended up obviously being, lifelong. We're still great friends. So it was a crazy deal because I never wanted to leave Kansas City. I mean, I loved the fan base. I loved everything about that. I remember sitting with Rick and Rob and just telling them, like, it's not about the money, right? The contract is more of you guys saying that you believe in me and you trust me. And that was to me what the big deal was. Obviously, numbers are always going to be numbers. People are going to outplay somebody. Freeney was the one that really broke the mold for everybody. We all owe Freeney a debt of gratitude because Freeney broke the mold for DNs and kind of put us on that same caliber as quarterbacks. To be honest. And now it's higher. But so the evolution goes, and someone's always going to outplay your stats, so you're going to get the money. But to me, the contract was more of that commitment. That the organization was all in on me and I was all in on them. Minnesota is where I wanted to be, and it worked out. Like I said, it worked out perfectly, and we had a good run. And unfortunately, we didn't win a Super Bowl, but we got darn close.
He's hit and sacked by Jared Allen.
Only Jared Allen could pull that off. How about that effort with a right hand? I've never seen that.
That's a great sack.
That was great. It took some learning, though, to be honest. So, when I came here, it took Kevin and I a little bit to learn how to play together because here I'm not trying to get in his way. I mean, he got an all-pro, in the middle, and I'm trying not to get in his way. He's trying not to get in my way, and we're trying to get that feel. I don't know, trying to figure out how he rushes, how I rush. And a couple of times, he's coming up the field outside. I'm taking an inside move, and you're smacking into each other. And what we learned is that we were better on opposite sides, especially in third down scenarios where now they have to decide. Because if, every time we ended up on the same side, they would just slide the line to us. And so we were able to split that and, give him one-on-one opportunities. Well, if they're going to slide to me, now he's going to have a one-on-one. If they're going to slide to him, I'm going to have a one-on-one. Or, if they're going to slide to him and chip to me, well, now that's one less person in the route.
As ever, this is what he knows. This is when he makes his money. This is when he becomes a superstar. And look at him out there. He's going bananas, getting his crowd into it. This is his time to shine.
So yeah, man, it was cool. It was because it was a learning curve, but then I think what I loved the most about coming here is from the D-line standpoint. It was throughout the whole defense, especially, but so much individual competition in our room, between each other. Who's gonna, I come in, they're like, oh, we play the run here. I'm like, I guess you guys haven't checked my stat. I had like 80 tackles one year in Kansas City, So we'd have competitions to who's going to have, the most tackles, which I always won. Just throwing that out there. Kevin, if you're watching this, love you, buddy, but I think I beat you every year. But that made me a better player. It made me like that. Like, they say it's a little cliche, iron sharpens iron, and it's so true. To have Pat, Kevin, in there, and then to have young guys like Everson and B-Rob chomping at the bit behind you, it keeps you on your game. You can never rest on your laurels, and I think that's the best way to describe my time here, was that at no point could you get comfortable, because you were, not that I was competing for a job, but I mean, you're competing with yourself, you're competing with your teammates, and that drive and that hunger inside our D-line room alone was why I would arguably say we had one of the best groups, for a span there. I'm not gonna say in history, but I'm gonna say in history.
Your first sack, I believe, was as a Viking, was Peyton Manning.
It sure was, and that was the only one I ever got on him.
Takes the snap, gets it off. He's back to pass. Pressured by Jared Allen, and he's sacked at the 42-yard line. And the first sack dance of his Minnesota Vikings career has taken place. It's Jared Allen forcing the Colts to punt.
I hit the dude a lot, but to finally be able to sack him was the Colts game. I believe it was week 2, was it? Week 2 okay, we played Carolina week 3. Yeah, that felt good. Because my first game as a Viking wasn't very good. I think I was so jacked from Monday Night Football against Aaron Rodgers. I was just kind of out of my mind, you know what I mean? Just constantly going. It wasn't playing within myself. And I never forget, we have our production grades, and I got like a -4 that game. And I took a wicked cut to my thigh. I was like, oh. But that was motivating. I used to write it on my hands, like -4, like never again, just a constant reminder, like don't get outside, like don't make this bigger than what it is. Play your game, and it's gonna be good. And was able to come back week 2 and get Peyton. Day one, to be honest, I got family. My mom's side of the family's from, Kindred, North Dakota. So, we've been Northerners. It's bred into me. What am I thinking? Like 60% Norwegian. So these are my people. From day one, the fans have been great. It's been amazing. It's been a community. I think the biggest thing is, I was very young in Kansas City, and made some immature mistakes, and then to be able to have this step and come into a locker room where guys were married and had kids, and I wasn't obviously at that point yet, but I really grew up in this community, to be honest with you. I met my wife in 2009, not here, we were in Arizona, but so to be married in 2000, meet my wife in 2009, be married in 10, and have that experience, my first child being born here, and just having life, like quality life happen here, and being able to mature and grow in that part of my life and in my career, and in such a community that really is family oriented. And I think that's probably one of the best ways to describe Minnesota. Everybody says Minnesota nice. It's a bit nosy at times, but we'll leave that at that. But it's definitely, I think it's a family community, especially, where we were at in Eden Prairie and Chanhassen and stuff like that. And you go up north, I go up north to go hunting, and people could care less about, what I did on Sunday. It was, hey, what'd you get? Did you get a bear? Did you get a deer? So I think, that to me is, I think, when I just started noticing the love was immediately, and I think just they accepted me and understood. And then as I grew in this community, it just kind of made it a bigger bond of being able to give back and to help and just be a viable part of the community was really cool. But that picture right there, and to have Kevin, right there beside me, that's my guy. It was phenomenal.
Step drop. Hey, sacked by Jared Allen.
It's either gonna be really, really good, or I'm either gonna succeed or fail miserably. It was like there was no in between. It was just gonna be. And I think obviously he was so elated on the 22nd. Having Dolman there was huge, but I was also in a insanely tight race for the sack lead that year. I think DeMarcus Ware had 19, so I had 18 and a half coming to this game. I think he was sitting at like either 17 and a half or 18. He wasn't good. And Jason Babin came out of nowhere to have like 17 this year. So here I am having to get 22 just to get the sack record, just to get, the sack lead for the year. Pure joy, just pure elation. And then I knew I had one more to get, a half one to get. And I think I was telling somebody yesterday, I'll never forget it. It was, only if it was third down, it didn't matter, but I knew it was a pass. I shifted out to a 9 technique. I knew the tight end was staying in the block, and I literally slipped getting out of my stance, and then I think they ran the ball the rest of the day.
I kind of told myself, I don't know if I'm ever going to be back in this situation, and I just didn't want to be the guy that choked when he got that close. So I just went out there, gave it all I had. Our fans were great; they were loud. It was great energy, and unfortunately we didn't win the game. But from an individual standpoint, it was a heck of a game I'll never forget.
Hey, what's up, MTV Cribs? I'm Jared Allen of the Minnesota Vikings. Come on in, we'll show you around. We'll have a good time. Can't promise you'll make it out, but I can promise things will get weird and creepy. Come on in.
Young and dumb and having too much fun, honestly. And so Cribs was a funny episode. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I thought it was pretty cool. Oh, my wedding, yes. Wedding photo. Obviously, the photographer had to throw football in there. And that is no better description. My wife is definitely the quarterback of our team. And one of the funny things, we were going out to take pictures. My wife was just me, my groomsmen. And driving down the street, someone yelled out, "Jared Allen's a," we'll leave the choice word out, and "Go Packers!" I was like, come on, dude. Obviously, I'm in a tuxedo. I'm getting married. Couldn't give me one day of Packers fan. So that was pretty funny. Draft party, and Kevin and Pat was cracking me up. Those guys are hilarious. I still tell people Kevin Williams is one of the low-key funniest dudes on the team. You just didn't know you had to know him. Pat was obviously Pat, Ray. But yeah, this kind of became iconic photo, man. I mean, I tell people all the time, the fact that Ray Edwards was considered our weakest link and he was getting 8 sacks a year for us, that just shows you how good of a D-line that we had. Oh, handsome photo. Handsome photo. Look at the hairline. Hairline was great. Gosh, it's gonna be cool. Don't be such a prick. Don't be such a meat stick. It's probably what I tell a younger me. You can avoid a lot of problems with your life. Just don't be such a meat stick. Oh, this is iconic. I was a little chubbier back then. To be honest, I always knew I was playing in the NFL. That was my only goal in life. I told my dad when I was 8 I was going to play in the NFL. So it was never an option not to be honest. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it was cockiness. It was confident. I just knew that's what I was meant to do. I mean, I tried to screw it up a lot of times along the way, but the good Lord, He got me in the right position. This ended up becoming another iconic photo.
In the backfield, Jared Allen's in the middle of that.
Working on the left tackle, Donald Penn. Now Penn's holding him a little bit there, pushes him down, stays on him, and now he jumps on him. That's the part right there that Allen objected to. Okay, you pushed me down, but you don't have to jump on me.
Donald Penn and I had many battles. I think sometimes two personalities just don't mix, and we both like to run our mouths. And again, I felt, I wish that one would have been fun to escalate a little further, to be honest with you. He got a little Western, and then, you know what? I took the victory lap on that one. On the next play.
Brad, I'm serious. That's the best thing that could have happened for Minnesota was that fight. Got the crowd in the game, and it's got Allen going hard.
Well, everyone, I just want to say thank you for an amazing 12-year career. This was the part where I was going to ride off into the sunset, but seeing how there's no sunset, I'm just going to ride off. But we were talking about going, my buddy was sending pictures. It was storming in Chicago. And he's like, oh, it's beautiful here in Iowa, stuff like that. And Amy goes, you know what, you should do like a Charlie Chaplin film. Like, don't even say anything. Just ride off into the sunset, right? So that was the plan. We get to Iowa. The storm followed us the entire way. There's no sunset. So the poor horse, had to deal with it. So we went out there, and we had to take a few takes because first time I did it, I rode off. My youngest daughter yells in the background, or my oldest, sorry, Daddy, don't fall off the horse. I thought we should have left that in there. But so we had to take a couple takes to get it right. But it worked out. It worked out beautifully again. And I never even knew what trending was. And I got a call and someone said I was trending on the internet or the social media sphere. And so I guess it worked out well. Again, just another awesome memory, dope picture. I think anytime I can see Kevin and I with the crowds, always makes it for a good memory. Yeah, honestly, one of the relationships I've formed over the years that I respect him so much as a human being. Take his football out of it. He's such a great husband, great father. He has such a great outlook on life. He's that constant example of steady. He should be a role model for everybody. He's so genuine. I should probably take more advice from being a little less talkative like he is, but it's just not in my nature. Every bit of it. Like I said, we were at dinner last night, I was talking about someone's like, you were only here 6 years. Your body of work feels like it was a 10-year span. And it really does. It felt like I was here a lot longer than 6 years is a long time. But it felt like I was here my whole career, to be honest with you. So I think for me, I just take away certain games, off-field stuff, just the whole totality of it is what I take away. We had our ups and downs. Obviously, 10 was equally as depressing as 9 was exciting. 11, I have one of the greatest personal career, ever, and we're 3-13, which sucks. Then we go make the playoffs the following year just to go lose in the first back-to-back game was great. So I remember all that stuff. The highs, the lows, but it's the comrades, the teammates. It really is. It's and a lot of people say it, but I don't think everybody means it. I've only been in a couple special locker rooms, and Minnesota was hands down the most special. It was that group of guys. It made it fun. It made going to work fun, and the memories you create. From a football standpoint, it's the little things. It's the wee tennis you play in the locker room. Shug is just being in the training room and the laughter that would take place because he created this environment of just where nothing was off limits. That was like our safety area. You go in and say, do whatever you want. So yeah, it was great. It was, like I said, it's just the totality of the memories I have, not a certain game, the highs and lows, and the relationships formed. And obviously, they were authentic relationships because I have them today with management, with some of the old players, and all that good stuff.